Eric Goldstein, who left his teaching job to start One World Education, a DC area organization reaching out to high school students, is asking young people to contemplate their role in the world.
I think what we're doing is we're bringing the global to the local.
We need to analyze what she wrote. Will it work in the community? Remember, we're students who are taking a responsibility to change our communities.
Eric's high school students at Seed Charter School in DC spawned the idea that students' reflections on the world can be a valuable teaching tool. He since has made it his mission to bring students' voices to education.
What I was experiencing is that young people are having incredibly powerful learning experiences outside of school, but they weren't completely motivated when returning to the classroom.
She keeps on talking about how ethnocentricity has become almost a part of American culture in and of itself. And I think by saying that...
Eric is proud that his work has been inspired by his students, and that their work is empowering and teaching other students. And because it starts with his students, Eric is giving value and ownership to students' ideas and thoughts about the world. And he utilizes modern technology, such as Facebook, to stimulate the conversation.
Let's be sure from what she wrote, can we answer those questions? So let's think about what she wrote. Let's talk about it as a group. In around 10 minutes, we're going to share with the rest of the class, can we answer those important questions?
So we asked students to write about whatever they care about. And I think the success that we've had as a young organization getting students to write and actually share their writing is that this isn't a typical assignment. Students are writing about their own lives, things that they care about.
One contributor to the One World Education website is Salma Muhammad from Springfield, Virginia.
I decided to write about my experience in Egypt. I was originally born in Washington, D.C., and when I was 9 years old, I moved to Egypt.
Salma's reflection discussed her observations about the differences between her education in Alexandria, Egypt, and her education in Alexandria, Virginia, and how that influenced and affected her. As well, she discussed her own ancestry. Her reflection was then used and discussed in class as a teaching tool for other students.
They become published writers. We share their reflections with our team of teachers. We build curriculum around what it is they've written. We post it. We make it freely available to teachers through our membership. And teachers return it to classrooms. So essentially, young people in DC classrooms are learning about the world, culture, and global issues from other young people.
Eric is finding that students that aren't normally engaged are very interested in learning through other students' perspectives and reflections. It's not textbooks or documentaries that are engaging them. It's knowledge of another teenager that they can relate to.
Students were excited to write about, and a lot of students wrote about their ethnic origins, countries they've come to, countries that, where their ancestors come from and they've never even visited, wondering about their own cultural identity.
And their practices and beliefs were different from their own. They labeled them as...
Eric says every student has a story to tell, and that through sharing their perspectives, they are providing important educational tools for their classmates, like Salma's reflection on her time in Egypt.
You know, when I think about some of the reflections, the One World reflections, as we refer to the student writing on our website, we have a student who wrote about living with cerebral palsy. We had a young lady who wrote about experiencing reverse racism when traveling in Mexico.
In a world that sees social media and networking as a growing source of information, especially for young people, Eric sees One World Education as a natural offshoot in 21st century educational systems. Peer-to-peer teaching is in natural alignment with peer-to-peer file sharing or posting a Facebook status update. And Eric sees an interest from teachers and schools around the DC area.
Our goal right now is to work with schools inside DC. You know, we think we have got a great model. We're getting great feedback from students. We're getting very strong and positive feedback from administrators and educators. DC schools are the schools that need these resources. You know, we talk about having some of the most challenged schools in the country, and if we're going to prove that our resources are really valuable, as we think they are, and as we're starting to prove that they are, then they should be able to have an impact right here in the local community.